It is truly fascinating when you think about it. We live in an age of glass towers, satellite internet, and instantaneous global communication. We have conquered the atom and touched the moon. Yet, a simple power outage in a suburban living room can turn a grown adult into a trembling child, eyes wide, heart hammering against their ribs. This isn't a sign of weakness. It is a biological echo. We aren't actually afraid of the dark itself. We are afraid of the total loss of information. The human brain absolutely loathes a vacuum. When the lights go out, we lose our most dominant sense, the one we rely on for nearly 90% of our data about the world. To fill that terrifying void, your mind reaches back 50,000 years into a dusty, blood-stained survival kit and pulls out a monster. It creates something to fear because the brain prefers a known threat to an unknown void. This experience is what scientists call an evolutionary shadow. For the vast majority of human history, the night did not belong to us. It belonged to creatures with much better eyesight, much sharper teeth, and a much more cold-blooded patience than our own. Our ancestors were not the strongest creatures on the African savanna, nor were they the fastest. But they were, without question, the most imaginative. Think about the stakes of that imagination. The humans who heard a rustle in the tall grass and thought, "Oh, it's probably just the wind," didn't tend to live long enough to pass on their genes. They were the optimists, and in the Pleistocene, optimism was often a death sentence. The ones who survived, the ones who became our great-great-grandparents, were the ones who assumed every single shadow was a leopard waiting to strike. We are the direct, unbroken descendants of the most paranoid people to ever walk the earth. That paranoia is woven into the very fabric of our DNA. When you flip a light switch today, your amygdala, that tiny, almond-shaped alarm system buried deep within your brain, has no idea that you are in a locked, climate-controlled apartment. It doesn't understand the concept of a deadbolt or a security camera. It thinks you are back in the wild, vulnerable, exposed, and blind. It triggers a physical cascade that is nothing short of a biological miracle. Your pupils dilate to their absolute limit, trying to capture every stray photon of light. Your hearing sharpens to such an acute degree that the hum of a refrigerator starts to sound like a low, predatory growl. Your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline, prepping your muscles to either fight a ghost or flee from a memory. Your digestion stops, your breath becomes shallow, and your skin prickles. That specific prickling sensation on the back of the neck is one of our most incredible vestigial responses. It is your nervous system attempting to detect minute changes in air pressure or subtle movements in the air that your eyes can no longer see. It's an invisible radar system passed down through hundreds of generations. Even when there is no predator, the system is so finely tuned that it creates false alarms just to stay sharp. In the world of evolution, it is 1,000 times better to be wrong about a shadow than to be wrong once about a predator. There is a strange, haunting beauty in this vulnerability. It is a reminder that despite our technology, we are still deeply connected to the wild world we spent millennia trying to pave over. We try to suppress this fear with 24-hour convenience stores, streetlights that glow with a harsh orange hum, and smart bulbs that mimic the sunrise. Yet, the thrill of the unknown remains. This is exactly why we, as a species, are so drawn to horror movies, ghost stories, and the flickering light of a campfire. We are safe, but we want to feel that ancient spark. We want to test the edges of our own survival software, reminding ourselves of what it feels like to be truly, vibrantly alive and wired for survival. We are playing with the very fear that built civilization. However, in our modern concrete jungles, this constant state of high alert can become an invisible burden. We aren't being hunted by saber-toothed tigers anymore, but we are being hunted by the shadows of our modern lives. Stress, the unknown future, and the feeling of never being truly off. The dark has become a metaphor for everything we cannot control or see coming. We navigate our careers, our relationships, and our health with that same ancient anxiety, scanning for threats in the corners of our minds. So, how do we live with these biological ghosts without letting them run the show? How do we find peace when our own biology is trying to convince us that the hallway is a hunting ground? The first and most powerful step is simply acknowledging the software. When you feel that surge of panic as you walk into a dark room, talk back to your brain. Recognize that your amygdala is just doing its job. It's an overeager security guard looking at a 50,000-year-old manual. By naming the fear as an evolutionary echo, you strip away its supernatural power. You transform a terrifying, irrational mystery into a fascinating piece of natural history. It isn't a ghost, it's just your ancestors saying, "Be careful." For those who find the darkness particularly heavy or anxiety-inducing, there is immense value in the concept of habituation. Instead of trying to banish the dark with more light, try to spend small, controlled moments within it. Sit in a dim room for 5 minutes. Don't look at a screen. Just breathe. Focus on the sounds that are actually there. The house settling, the distant rhythm of traffic, your own heartbeat. By slowly proving to your nervous system that the void is empty and safe, you can retrain your brain to see the dark not as a danger zone, but as a space for sensory decompression. We can also find a sense of profound peace by reclaiming the night. Historically, the dark was not just a time of fear, it was a time for storytelling, for looking at the infinite canopy of the stars, and for deep communal bonding. Before we had the glowing distraction of screens, we had the firelight. Perhaps the reason we feel so uneasy in the dark now is because we have lost the social rituals that used to make the night feel like a sanctuary. We are often alone in the dark now, which is something our ancestors almost never were. They were huddled together, sharing warmth and stories. The future of how we handle this ancient fear lies in balance. We don't need to live in a world of harsh, clinical, 24/7 illumination. That actually disrupts our circadian rhythms and harms our mental health even further. Instead, we can move towards soft environments, spaces that respect our need for visibility while allowing our senses to rest. Learning to embrace the shadows can actually unlock a different kind of creativity. When the visual world is stripped away, the internal world of the imagination becomes more vivid, more fluid. Many of the world's greatest philosophical breakthroughs and artistic inspirations were born in the quiet, dim hours of the night, when the loud distractions of the day finally fell silent. The dark is where the subconscious does its best work. Ultimately, your fear of the dark is not a flaw. It is not a sign that you are childish or weak. It is a testament to the incredible, harrowing journey of the human species. It is the signature of a survivor. Every time your heart races in the shadows, it is a reminder that you come from a long, unbroken line of people who were smart enough, fast enough, and cautious enough to endure against impossible odds. You aren't just a person standing in a dark room. You are a biological masterpiece, carrying the torch of 50,000 years of survival. You are the end result of a million successful escapes. The next time the lights go out and the room feels heavy with the unseen, take a deep, slow breath. Feel the adrenaline, listen to the vibrant silence, and appreciate the ancient, complex machinery humming inside you. The shadows haven't changed, but your understanding of them has. You aren't afraid of what is in the dark, you are simply aware of the power of the unknown. And in that awareness, there is a profound, quiet strength. The dark is no longer a place of monsters. It is a place of history, a quiet, velvet space where we can finally stop running, stop scanning, and just be. Embrace the mystery, trust the instincts that kept your ancestors alive, and remember that even in the deepest, most absolute blackness, you carry the light and the resilience of 1,000 generations within you. You are never truly alone in the dark. You are surrounded by the legacy of everyone who came before you, watching over the shadows.